talk about the beginning of the movie, there's this wonderful story you tell about a unicorn and a lion, and I thought it was really interesting as sort of a starting point in your character's arc, giving this sermon about setting this sort of bedtime story up against the Bible, and then contrasting that with where you end up in the movie. I wonder if you could speak on that a little bit.
Well, I was really surprised by that. Well, let's not startle the audience. There aren't a lot of sermons that I have to do in this movie, but the man I'm playing is a pastor, and there's some moments where we bring you into the church and him delivering the message, and I was so taken with that sermon. I thought Randall Wallace, who obviously wrote Braveheart and a lot of great films, that really had captured something interesting with that, and that it felt like a sermon that was accessible, regardless of where you are. It felt like it could touch anybody in terms of what it was asking, and it brought me right into the story, and obviously, resonates throughout the movie in a way, and it comes full circle at the end in terms of what Todd thought about his own life and where he was at the beginning of the story and where he was at the end.
Marvelous. I wonder if you could speak on too. I was also really impressed with your relationship with Colton, and I wonder if you could speak on working with Connor and the rehearsal process and what it was like building that relationship, because it read really well on screen for me.
Well, he's a lovely boy, and we were lucky to find him. It was a big search around the country, and he hadn't done anything, and I guess it was a lot of baseball. I'm not gonna lie to you. Had to bring the glove. We played a lot of soccer. Look, he's all boy. He's 5 years old when we did this movie, so he's just wants to run and kick and jump, and periodically needs to act. So there was some kid whisper elements to the job that I had to take on, but generally, when he needed to deliver the goods, they were there. He had a genuine honesty and believability in everything that he did that was quite effortless in the movie, and it really comes through.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think it's a heavy subject and a big subject for such a young actor.
Yeah.
I was terribly impressed.
Yeah, he had a few hard times. I remember there's a moment where he talks to he hugs his sister. That he has to hug his sister who was never born, actually, and they have this moment, and it's really heavy in the movie, and he was afraid. You forget he's just a 5-year-old kid. He's like, I'm gonna hug who?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'm not hugging anybody, and certainly not a girl.
Another thing I was interested in is your character is involved in so many different things. In the beginning of the movie, we learn about him through his various occupations. He's got like 4 different day jobs. I was curious how you approached that. It must be exhausting imagining those scenarios.
No, I love that. I felt like the notion of a guy wearing many hats in this small town instantly read truthful to me, and it certainly is the case. Todd is a pastor, of course, but unlike quite often in movie pastors who were always walking around robes holding candles in churches, here was a guy who's out repairing garage doors, and he's a wrestling coach, and he's volunteer firefighter, a parent. I just felt like he was a composite of a lot of different things, and I read that thinking, of course he is. That's how it is. And so that when his son comes back to him with this story, yes, it affects his faith, and it asks some questions of him, and he actually has a bit of a struggle with that. But it's not only as a person who has a job as a minister in this church, but also as all of those other things. It affects him within the community in a big way, and the ripples of him being more than one having more than one job or kind of felt in the story.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, that's it for me. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.